Hallo und willkommen beim Whisky Waiter. Ja, heute sind wir in Israel bei der M&H Distillery und haben 4 Special Releases, 4 Abfüllungen mit Bier-Finish und probieren diese mal aus. Ich begrüße euch mal kurz hier auf Deutsch, bevor wir jetzt gleich ins Englische switchen, weil unsere Gäste natürlich kein Deutsch sprechen heute. Wir haben hier Meatloaf ist dabei, hat zwar ein Z, ist aber krank. Gute Besserung an der Stelle. Alex ist dabei, Stefan ist dabei, Ulrich ist dabei, das erste Mal M&H. Er ist sehr gespannt. Eike ist dabei. Auch du darfst natürlich, wenn du möchtest, vor die Kamera kommen. Stefan ist dabei. Und ansonsten wird sich hier schon fleißig ausgetauscht. Jericho ist noch dabei. Ja, sehr schön. Dann warten wir nicht lange, sondern laden direkt mal unsere 2 Gäste hinzu und begrüßen Shilton and Thomas from the M&H Distillery. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure.
Yes, please, Shilton, you go first.
I knew you will say that. Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Shilton Almeida. I work with M&H Milk and Honey Distillery based in Tel Aviv. I am a little bit about myself. I'm born and brought up in India, in Goa. I moved to the UK in 2015, and I started working with M&H in January after working for 10 years with an Indian whiskey called Paul John. And I live in Clydebank, so it can't get more international. I'm an Indian man living in Scotland and working with the Israeli whiskey. It doesn't get more international than that. I live in a suitcase this time of the year, mainly traveling most of the time, spreading the good word and spreading the message, passing on the message and sharing the dram, what this man creates, who is Tomer.
Hello. Great to be here. Shilton, thank you. I just want to say that it's amazing to work with Shilton and to see the hard work that he does, traveling so much. And sometimes I'm jealous. Most of the time, I'm just... But I'm Tomer, head distiller at M&H Distillery since the beginning, from 2013 when we started distillation. We'll talk about the distillery a little bit, or...
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So distillery began at 2012 by Gal Kalkstein and 4 other high-tech entrepreneurs that just drank too much and wanted to start the first Israeli single malt whiskey distillery. And from the beginning, I think they didn't really realize what they are about, but here we are 8 years later. From the beginning, we joined forces with Dr. Jim Swan, who was, I think, the biggest expert for hot climate whiskey production, but more important, maturation. He's the man behind well-known distilleries from around the world, from Taiwan, from India, and a lot from Scotland also. And from the beginning, we worked with him and defined what we have to do in such a hot climate as Tel Aviv, as Israel. We'll talk about it in a minute. But what we have to do to produce a good and really best quality single malt whiskey in Israel. So just to let you know, the regulations in Israel for whiskey is not something that's really based. So what we decided from the beginning is to follow the Scotch rules, the SWA rules relating to single malt whiskey production. Of course, not Scotch. We are proud Israeli single malt whiskey. But we are following the SWA rules one by one, just so you, the consumer, can make sure that you drink a really good quality and good quality whiskey and made by all the strict regulations. Shilton, anything to add now?
Well, you covered off more of it. I mean, it's interesting about the story as well, that you just come with an idea of saying, okay, let's start with a whiskey distillery. Gal and the guys who came up with this idea, and then you say, how? We have an idea, but how do we do this? Because there is no distillery, and M&H is the first distillery coming from Israel, so there is no idea how it's going to work. And well, it's
But-
very interesting.
How come the idea to create a whiskey distillery, to found a whiskey distillery in Israel? Because Israel is not famous for whiskey so far.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
But
now it is because of M&H, but I think Israel is more into wine and some other things. But
of course,
is whiskey a market in Israel?
this year we are celebrating the 10 year of M&H. We will celebrate it. And I think 10 years ago, whiskey wasn't so famous in Germany also, or in other New World countries. And just began to pop. All the distilleries from all around the world just began to pop up and to show. And I think that was just the time for a whiskey distillery also in Israel, when the people, the crowd around the world are more open to New World whiskey distilleries. And of course, we already know, and we knew then that good whiskey can be produced everywhere in the world. And it depends what you do, and you should be strict on what you do. No compromission on the process, no compromission on the equipment, the distillery, no compromission on the knowledge. Of course, we brought Dr. Jim Swan, and I think you can see it in the whiskey, and that's what we want to show the world, that good whiskey is produced also in Israel. But that's the last time I'm saying good whiskey for my whiskey, because you will have to judge it.
But
For some people,
Manuel, there's also one thing. I mean, it's been 10 years now that Tomer and the guys have been making whiskey, but we set up the distillery only in full swing only in 2014. Before that, this guy was distilling at home, by the way.
Yes, so
okay.
First single malt came out in late 2017. It was distilled in 2014, still in my home lab. It was really small still. We started to define and to think what we want to do with Dr. Jim Swan, and we worked on it. And first distillation at the distillery with the current equipment was December 2014, I think.
2014, December 2014. Yeah.
So are there still some casks from your home lab, as you said, in the distillery or in the warehouse somewhere? Is it possible to try whiskey from your home?
Or under his bed? Under his bed, maybe.
Under his bed, okay.
Well, I still have some bottles from these two single casks that we released from my own experiments. I still have some casks, but as we spoke about the hot climate, and not a lot left in these casks, and I will not release it. I think I'm just testing it from time to time. It's already, I have the 12 and 15 years old whiskey or syrup. It's really extracted. But we are focusing on the whiskey from the distillery. We are doing much better things now than I was distilling at home.
Okay. So for some people in the chat, it's the first time trying M&H. Can you tell us something about what is M&H all about? You said it earlier. It's because of the climate, the whiskey won't be that old. Will probably never get old, because, like you said, with a 10-year-old whiskey, there won't be much left in the cask. What is M&H? What should the normal M&H taste like?
Okay, so Tel Aviv and Israel is very hot and humid country. More than 300 days of sun we have a year. Most of the year, more than half the year, it can reach more than 30 degrees Celsius. The summer, the coldest period, is in average around 20 degrees. Sometimes it goes lower, but not a lot. And Tel Aviv is very, very humid. We're talking about
Okay.
half of the year, 90% humidity. It's like walking inside a soup. You're walking and you're sweat. And that's our climate. Sometimes it's good for whiskey maturation. For example, the rapid maturation. Sometimes in some other aspects it's not so good because you lose a lot whiskey evaporation. The engine share in Tel Aviv is in average around 11% a year. So that's a little bit higher. And so you need to know how to work with the climate. It's not I won't say it's good or bad. It's just a thing that we have and we need to work with it. And that's why
Yeah.
we it's really good that we brought Dr. Jim Swan.
Okay. So today we have 4 special casks, 4 special releases. What's the idea behind those, and who made the idea up?
But I think, Shilton, the first thing, I think we should quickly have a brief on the core range.
Yeah, for sure. We'll quickly do the core range one as well, so you can understand what we have. So Manuel, in the core range, just before we start off, this is an exciting project that we have done in Art Craft. But in the core range, we have something called as the classic. A lot of people know about this already. And there are 3 elements in the core range. That makes it 4 expressions completing the core range. All 4 are at 46% ABV. We have the classic, which is a very standard, straightforward whiskey as an introduction to M&H, I will say. More like a signature of, if you have not tried the classic, you have not tried M&H. That's what I would say always. That is our DNA. And then you have the 3 elements, which are different elements added to the classic as a whiskey. It's just because everyone has got different palates and different styles of whiskeys as their favorites. So we got these 3 different elements. Element red wine cask, which is which we use Israeli local, barrels cask from local wineries to mature the whiskey. And then we have the elements sherry and elements peated. As you can see, there are 3 different ones. These are all just because of different palates and people having different favorites. All of this, the idea behind the 4 is to introduce people to as an invitation to try M&H in their favorite style. Classic for me will always be, and for us will always be, the M&H to try and to start your journey in M&H with. We have the Apex series, which are small batches. I could see a lot of comments coming up about the Apex Connect cask and all that we have done. And then this year, we'll talk more about the Apex small batches that we have and what we are doing at the end. But this year we have come up with this art and craft idea, which is this year is a beer cask project which we have worked with local breweries. 6 different expressions is the idea. We have got 4 of those today in the lineup. 6 different breweries where we have sent casks to them to fill up their beers and mature the beer, leave it over there for about 4 to 6 months time, and then bring the barrel back and then mature it for 3 years. Mature the whiskey for 3 years for us. What are they? What breweries are they? And why the idea and how it came up? I'll let Tomer explain that some more.
Well, from the beginning, we didn't think about releasing it in a series focused on beer styles and different breweries. It just came up with an idea and went to those distilleries. They were happy to have casks to mature the beers and to season the beer. I'm not a beer guy. I just like my pilsner. And so they were happy to take the cask. We were happy to have the cask flavored with different beer styles and different breweries, and we knew that someday we will do something with that. Last year, our marketing manager Dana, she came up with an idea to release every year a series called Art and Craft, which every year we will focus on different subject. Or so, first year we had this cask from the breweries, and it's very interesting, and I think it became very milk and honey style, but still you have huge differentiations, and it's really interesting to see the differences that every beer gave to each expression. Let's start to taste.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Let's first talk about the lineup. We have 4 different cask types here today. You said to me we'll start with the Belgian Ale, then go to the chocolate porter, the Doppelbock, and the ex-Isla IPA. That's the lineup for today. We have 4 different art and crafts today, but only 2 of them are available in Germany so far. There was a question in the chat from somebody who asks if the other 2 will come to Germany as well.
Yes, the other 2 will be coming to Germany as well.
Okay, and we can also say today there will be 6 art and craft releases, but only 4 of them are released yet. So 2 of them will come in the next weeks or month or something.
The next 2 which will be released out of the 6, which is the barley wine and a stout beer, which you can see on the Thomas screen. These 2 are just getting ready now, and it will be coming in Germany as well. Maybe I can't say when, maybe December or before, but it should be coming to Germany as well.
Okay, perfect. So all 6 will be available in Germany someday.
There were not many bottles also, remember that. There's you're talking about 900 bottles. I think the first one we're having is 988 bottles that we got. Why we got 988, I will let Tomer explain, and how many casks went in and all the details. But there are not many bottles, so it just comes in and it goes off, and it depends on the market as well.
Yeah, so the first one, do you want us to go to the tasting?
Okay.
The first one, yeah. So the first one is the Belgian Ale beer cask. Came from a brewery located in Petah Tikva. It's a city close to Tel Aviv, in the center of Israel. And here we got, I'm just uploading all my tables. Here we got the Belgian Ale style, beer style. That it's a beer that they put sugar or candy sugar. They add candy sugar to the beer to make it stronger, sweeter, and it's very thick. It's got really good body, very sweet. To be honest, not my kind of beers, but it gives really nice flavors to the whiskey. One more thing I want to tell you about the Art and Craft series is that all is bottled in higher ABV, not 46. It's not cask strength. We dilute it to the point we think it will be best for the consumer to start drinking, to start letting the whiskey develop in the glass. But it is definitely whiskeys to sit with, to drink while you are talking, doing things, and to let it develop in the glass. It is developing.
So these were 3 casks given to the brewery, 3 ex-bourbon casks given to the brewery, right, Tomer?
Yes, those are 3 casks gave to the brewery. They didn't bottle it. They just poured it in their Virtual Center from taps. What came out, the beer that came out from the casks, the beer was aged for 6 months in the casks, and we added just 2% of port cask to this, 2%, nothing else, to make it just a little bit thicker, to just make it better.
And how long was the whiskey in the beer casks for the finish?
So it was 3 years. Let's see exactly. It was 3 years and 1 month in the cask.
So it's a full maturation.
Yes, we are talking here only about fully matured whiskeys in the beer casks. That means that all the connections with the breweries was 3 or even 4 in the next expression years ago.
Okay.
So it's a long-term term project.
Okay. Before we try the whiskey, let's talk about some question we have from the chat here. One question is the peated version made only with ex-peated whiskey cask, or do you use peated malt itself?
Okay, so both things. I assume that peated version, we are talking about the elements peated. And when we are talking about the elements peated, so here we use ex-bourbon casks, matured our own, not our own, but our distillate made from peated barley, and unpeated barley aged in ex-Isla casks.
Okay, both. Okay.
It's a combination of both. I really like the combination of two styles of peat. It always gives it more depth, more complexity, and of course more interest to the drinker, to the consumer.
And where's the peated barley from? Is it from Scotland, imported, or where's it from?
Well, most of the barley that we buy is from Mantons in the UK.
Okay.
Some peated barley we buy from the Czech Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And we are just about next year to open our own malting plant in Israel and to start producing at the beginning unpeated barley, but I think we will produce peated barley also with peat from Israel.
Is there peat in Israel?
Yes, there is peat in the north of Israel,
Okay.
but it's preserved, and we got a really special permission to cut a little bit from it and to use it.
Oh, nice. Okay, second question is, how many liters are produced by M&H per year?
So full capacity we measure by the stills, and the stills can produce up to 1 million liters of alcohol, but we are now producing around 250,000 liters of alcohol a year, and still not selling it, but we will, thanks to Shilton.
Yeah, Shilton is doing a great job. I met him in person in Limburg.
No pressure, Tomer.
You're doing great, Shilton.
I like the way he said we have a capacity of doing 1 million, and then he said we don't make that much, but we will. Then he looks at me. No pressure at all.
No, actually, we are selling whiskey for only like 5-6 years from, no, maybe even less. When the Corona started, we just launched the Classic, which is our first whiskey. Before the Classic, we had some series called Young Single Malt. We didn't call it whiskey before it was aged for 3 years. And we were in Germany. Even since then, we have really good partners in Germany. Kamera. They are just like family for us, and we really love working with them. But 2021, I think it was the launch of the Classic, the first commercial whiskey, and we launched it in Netherlands, Germany, and France. Then the Corona just began, and all the other expressions, all the range that we have, the elements, the apexes, the other things we launched online, and now we started to work, and we're back to work and to travel, and there is nothing like seeing people, visiting people, see people, the reaction on the faces of the people, not through the screen, but face to face. It's amazing.
As you said, Kammerkirsch is the German importer for M&H.
Yes.
They sponsored 2 of the bottles today. Thank you for that.
So,
as I said, they're amazing.
Yeah, the other 2 bottles won't be able to buy in Germany so far, so I had to import them from Belgium by myself. Okay, let's try the whiskey, I would say. I love the nose.
It's also at 55.1% ABV as well. So feel free.
Don't have the ABV in the
If somebody
nose.
wants to add water, I've tried it before. For me, it is nice, but adding a drop of water will open it up as well if you want to.
Yeah, that was one question. Is it recommending to add water to the whiskey, or you should probably drink it neat? What is your suggestion for it?
Well, my suggestion is to do just what you used to do, how you like to drink whiskey. But usually, whiskey is in high strength. What I do, I don't recommend anyone to do anything, but I do. It's just sip it as is, let the palate get used to it. First sip in higher ABV always will give some shock to the palate, but second sip will be much better. You will feel much more flavors. Then adding water will open up more flavors and will let you understand what's going inside the whiskey. And so I'm always adding some water to the whiskey, of course, to this higher ABV 55.1. It's not something that most of the people use to drink, although I think here I think the people here used to drink cask strength.
Yeah, they are used to cask strength, definitely. So
Yeah, but
I think the nose, you don't get the alcohol at the nose. It's quite gentle at the nose. I have a little bit of pear, a little bit of maltiness. Nice. It's smooth. It's really smooth for a cask strength whiskey.
Can you imagine or find some Belgian ale beer notes inside this, or it's just because we wrote it on the bottle?
I have to be honest, I'm not that much of a beer drinker, so I don't know what is special for a Belgian ale.
It's very interesting. Someone said to me recently in one of the shows when we had this at the show and was tasting it, he said it does not taste like beer. I'm like, dude, it is not supposed to taste like beer. Let's start it to start it right. It is not a beer. And the thing is with the beer, it is always we have the beers as a refreshing drink and not something which you really want to. Not many people sit with the beer and actually understand the flavors of it. Most of the beer consumed today is had because it's a very refreshing drink. So to really understand the flavors, if you'll see it even through the range, you will see how you can actually get a lot of flavors from what you get in the beer. The Doppelbock will give you a big punch on it as well because it's a strong beer. And, all these different beer types that we have used, you do get it. Get the flavors if you really sit back with it.
Someone asked, what's the ABV?
And it's same type of car.
5.1. Okay, Shilton is gone, I think.
Yeah, Shilton, the connection is not so.
Okay, I was afraid it's my connection, but I think it's his connection in the hotel, I think.
But he's nice like this. But here, what actually to understand the differences between the distillery style, you can later try the classic. The classic represents the distillery character as is, just the basic. And
what happened to my internet? Something happened with my internet?
Yeah, no problem. But to understand the distillery character, you should try the classic later, not now, and then you can feel some differences in this whiskey. And today, the world of whiskey, not today, from a few years ago, the world of whiskey going really strong on wood management, on different cask types, on very interesting cask types, and this it's not a beer, just like you said, Shilton, and it's really interesting project to see the effect of beer casks on the whiskey maturation. And what the hot climate in Israel allows us to do is to check it in shorter time. And here we do feel some, I don't know if to call it a candy sugar, because I don't know if all the people tried it, but brown sugar, some sweetness from the beer. And I really love the background that it gives. It bolts some other even vanilla or caramel, some other sweet flavors. And in the finish, you feel it like some bitter, but it's not bitter. It's, I don't know how to describe it. It's just background and
a little bit herb, maybe from the hop.
Maybe herbal. Yeah.
Someone said it's very sweet on the palate with light bitterness from the fruit. Little little bit blossoming. Hop note, alcohol is present, but I would never guess 55%. Yeah, I would absolutely say the same. And with water, it even gets sweeter.
Yeah, so the water will open up more flavor, and I think will make it sweeter. It's like this for all the whiskeys that we will taste.
So, yeah, they say with water they get a honey note.
Well, just to clarify this, we don't use any honey in the whiskeys. Just
You
whiskey. 3 ingredients and wood.
Just sugar in the beer.
No, 3 ingredients and different types of casks of wood. That's the whiskey.
Nice start. Someone asked, why beer cask? Is it a big thing, beer in Israel, or why would you start the experimental series with beer casks?
Well, at the middle of the 90s, there were a lot of craft breweries in Israel, craft breweries scene in Israel that started to develop. Since then, many of the breweries closed, and the strongest and the most interesting stayed till today. And beer is not a big issue, big thing in Israel. Of course, not like as in Germany, but it is a thing that started to develop, and now we have really nice craft brewery scene. And of course, we have a lot of other beers imported from all around the world. Every year, the Israelis drink more and more beers, and more and more interesting beers. Not like mine.
That's the point. Interesting beers, right?
Yeah, craft breweries and things like that. And we have, I think, around 20 craft breweries in Israel. And we just thought about collaborations, doing something Israeli. And you have those breweries. We love those breweries. And why not collaborate with them and doing more interesting stuff?
Definitely. Here, someone asked, what is your favorite style of beer?
Well, to be honest, I don't drink, I sip. My job is to sip a lot of whiskey during the day. I'm doing blending, and I'm sampling casks, trying not to overwhelm this. But at the end of the day, to be honest, I just need a cold, fresh beer. So just a lager, good crisp lager, or a pilsner. That's for me at the end of the day. But when I go out, I always love to try different styles of beers, and I like to experiment everything. If I won't like it, I won't order another beer. But to know the beer and to try it, I think that's something I must have. I must do.
Okay, perfect.
But
Shilton, welcome back.
really love very crazy beer.
Shilton, what's your favorite beer?
Well, first of all, sorry. Now I'm using my phone because my laptop, my Wi-Fi, something happened. So I'm on the phone right now. So sorry about that.
No problem. I don't see any difference.
Yeah.
No? Oh, wow.
Actually, you look nicer.
What's my type of beer? It depends as well. If I am in a mood to start off with a beer, I will try different style. But after a long day at a whiskey show, I prefer a nice lager to sit down with, more refreshing. I'm a big fan of the sour beers, more of the Belgian sour beers, and something which Tomer hates me. If there's one reason he doesn't like me, is because I like that style of beer. Look at him. Well, Belgian beers are something which I am a big fan of. I always have some beers around over here in my house. Sour beers is my favorite.
Okay. If you're ever around my place, we should go to Cologne and Düsseldorf. There are so many breweries doing Kölsch and Alt beer, which is a specialty in my region. It's only in
my
the
best
region.
style of beer. I really love alt beer.
Alt beer.
Our beers, wow, it's amazing.
I need some of them to enjoy them. I think the first one is you have to drink it, and with everyone you drink, it gets better.
No, but I love the way they serve it, just never ending. Pack,
Yes, definitely.
pack. It's amazing, amazing.
Okay, second one. We have the chocolate porter beer cask. So chocolate porter beer cask is one cask, correct?
No, so chocolate porter beer cask. It's a special winter beer that made by Shapiro Brewery. It's a brewery just nearby Jerusalem. They are from Jerusalem, but they opened the brewery just outside Jerusalem. And we're talking here about 3 casks also. 770 bottles bottled from those 3 casks. Only those casks. And well, it was a porter beer, so really heavy in the palate. A lot of bitter flavors, chocolate. They also add chocolate, actual chocolate, into the beers. It's something that in Germany you cannot do, but in Belgium, yes. And
You can do it, but then it's not the Reinheitsgebot anymore.
all right. Just pour myself.
And this were again 3 casks as well, Toma, right?
Yes, 3 casks. They had really nice bottle. Maybe I have it here.
So they bottled it.
Yes, they bottled it, and the bottle had a sticky label. You could take it off and stick it as a
okay.
sticker. And in the label, they had a hint. They have a really nice picture on the label, paint, and they had a cask with MH on it, and it's really nice. The beer, the whiskey, I think this is my favorite from this whiskey, from this series. But every day I choose other whiskey. So
It's quite full on the pilot. I like it.
and here you can actually feel the chocolate, also in the palate, but also in the finish. It's very long. I recommend you to add water to this. It will make it even bolder. This is stronger than the last one, 56.2% alcohol.
Do you know how long they have had the beer inside the casks?
Yes, so the beer was matured inside the cask for 6 months, and it was amazing beer. I can imagine it. But the whiskey stayed in the cask for 4 years. This was the first, really first collaboration that we made with the brewery, and we still have some collaborations with them. Also, Shilton, they are the first in Israel to produce sour beers. They have really great sour beers that they matured in our sherry casks, sherry butt, and we have the cask, and it's still young, but we have a continuous collaboration with them. They are really good friends. Shapiro Brewery, look for it.
I will. This is my day one trip sorted when I am in Tel Aviv in December. The first visit is this is where I'm going.
I already planned it.
Shilton, when you go to Israel, can you bring some beer for us? Because Thomas from the chat is a German YouTuber with a beer channel.
Okay.
I think he would love to try those.
Well, we can.
I can also send you beers. Talk to me later.
Yeah.
We can sort out something, Manuel, where we can send it to the guys, and maybe you want to do the whiskey and the beer together at some point. But we can send. It all depends how many of those beers are still available, by the way.
Okay.
Actually,
yeah, this would be awesome.
I don't understand what people write here because I don't speak Germany, unfortunately, German. But if you can just tell me what people think about it, if people can find the chocolate porter here.
Yeah, I haven't had much of the chocolate porter. There were so many comments on the Belgian beer. I think the people are just trying so far. In the nose, I was a little bit confused. I got lots of green wood and grassy notes with some hints of vanilla notes like a bourbon. On the palate, cacao and, well, bourbon-like moment.
Well, cacao, it's something that I think comes from these casks. Maybe when you talk about 4 years maturation, it's longer time, and every year in Israel counts, affect the maturation. And well, I really like this. I find here cacao. I find here dark chocolate finish, which is probably came from the casks, and some.
I first tried this one on German whiskey festival in I don't know the name of the city. I don't know, but I tried it on the festival, and it's like Stefan said. The first nose was, what is this? But the more you try it, the more you like it.
Well, also you need to understand the whole project is about experimenting, and we will not release any whiskey that is not good, in our opinion. But if a whiskey can pass and is interesting enough for the consumer to drinking and to think about what he drinks, so that's the point for me. And if you are talking about a chocolate porter and you try to look for it and think and try it, and you think about what you drink, I think that makes a lot of interest to the consumer, to the whiskey geek.
But also
So-
you need to understand that this style of whiskeys which are matured in beer casks, people have to have an understanding of the beers as well. If you do not understand the beers, then it is very difficult to understand. Then you will just say, this is, it's fun, I like it. But the fun starts when you really understand the beer yourself. Like, a porter, a Belgian ale, a stout beer, and then you can relate this whiskey to that. There is no better relationship or an affair, I would say, than a beer and a whiskey. It's a perfect pairing. Sitting down at a bar as well, we do the half and half every time in a bar. Just do half and half, sit down with it. But there is always a perfect. You can always find a perfect beer and sit down with many drams, or just the other way around as well, and enjoy it. So you need to understand the beer. You also need to understand the flavors that you get from a beer. It's not just a beer that you are having it for as a refreshing beverage or refreshing drink, but to understand the flavors of the beer. And that's more important when you talk about it. I mean, the chocolate porter, chocolatey notes, cacao, a lot of roasty notes as well. But that is what it is all about.
Yeah, but that's bringing me back to the core range. The core range made for everyone. Everyone can find a whiskey that he likes and want to, and will be happy to buy in the core range. Here we are talking about experimental thing. We're talking about more geeky thing, and it's not the character of the distillery. Not always the character of the distillery, although you will find some of the distillery character inside these bottles. But still, it's something that went aside and something that was out differently than the core range. If someone is not a whiskey geek or a whiskey drinker that wants to experiment, that wants to find out interesting thing, so I recommend them to go to the core range.
Yeah, I think we have the geeks here in the
I'm sure.
Like you said, it's an experimental series. Every experiment is to learn something. What would you do with the lessons learned you got from the series? Is there something you have planned for the future with the experience you made from these bottles?
So first, yes, we experiment and we learn every day, every single day, we learn new stuff. And the day I will stop learning or experimenting, I will stop doing whiskey, because that's the main thing for me. Besides doing good whiskey, but someone wrote here that he has some difficulties finding the beer notes inside the whiskey, and that's right, because we don't know how the beer cask will affect the whiskey, and sometimes it affects the other way you thought it should be or it will be. And it's interesting to see the effects of the beer casks. Every cask affects different, and the main notes, I think, is there inside, but you need to dig.
Jericho says the chocolate porter is a winter whiskey for me. Dark fruits, chocolate, and nuts. Number one is the Belgian ale. Is a summer drink with strong hop, herbs, and freshness. I like both. And Eike says I think water suits it very well. It gets more round, smooth, and for me even more intense in the flavor. And I have to admit, I first don't like it, but I get better and better. I understand in understanding it and kind it like it. Not my favorite dram, but still a very interesting and fascinating one.
Yes,
A
so
good dram to explore. Yeah, that's what it is. A good dram to explore.
yeah, but that will take Eike. Eike, did I pronounce the name good?
Eike.
Eike. That will take Eike to explore more of M&H, because we're doing a lot of cask explorations. We're experimenting a lot, and the core range is something that anyone can enjoy.
We are doing a lot of M&H here in the community. We already had the white wine cask, the peated fortified red wine cask, and the pomegranate.
The pomegranate one, yeah.
And for the future, we have the Christmas tree over here. And I have some specialty from Belgium. I don't know if you know
the
it.
butts and barrels single cask. Yeah.
The butts and barrels single cask. Yeah, we'll see what they bring. Ah, you have a bottle there. Nice. Does it really have more than 50%? Can't believe it.
Yeah, do you want me to check it now? I can check it now.
Yeah, and Knölsch Beer Kanal says, I have to agree with Jericho. The beer is the Belgian is a summer and the porter is a winter whiskey.
They're very completely opposite to each other, I will say as well, and that is why starting the session, it was a good idea to pick up with the Belgian ale style first. Tomer.
Oh, nice. Let's. So almost the same as on the bottle.
Yeah.
I like this. Where can I get one?
Well, it costs some money, but
yeah, I think I believe that.
And I'm at home, not at the distillery.
So, yeah, I think the people like both of them. Some like the Belgian ale more. Some like the chocolate porter more. It's different. It depends on the people, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Well, today it's quite warm in Germany for this time of the year. We have like a little bit over 20 degrees, which is not normal for this time of the year. And so the Belgian ale is maybe more the beer for today. Okay, should we go to the next one?
Perfect. The next art and craft, Doppelbock beer cask, which is kind of very common name in Germany. I think the beer was about 8%, and this time it is 5 cask instead of 3. It was a bigger batch as well that we got. So it was 5 casks sent to the brewery and filled up with the beer. Similar time, 5 to 6 months time, and then brought it back. One of the casks was matured at the Dead Sea, right, Tomer?
Yes, one of the 5 casks that went into this expression that yielded 1,238 bottles was matured at the Dead Sea, which gives it more bolder, more extract flavors from the wood. This is from a brewery located in the south of Israel. It's just in Kiryat Gat. It's really southern city, and it has some different periods. This brewery, but at the end, it is owned by a company that has beer stores all around Tel Aviv.
Okay.
And they brew all their beers. At the beginning, they started of selling all the Israeli beers in their stores, but now they are brewing around 20 different styles of beers. One of them is the OMG. Oh my God. OMG Doppelbock, aged in casks. Every time they take different casks. This 3 years ago, it was M&H casks. And it's really also heavy, sticky, barrel aged. More, it reminded me barley wine, things to sit like a whiskey and not like beer. And that's what came out from these 5 casks. Actually, we had 6. One of the casks went to one independent bottler. Not
okay.
yet. And 5 of them.
Can you tell which independent butler?
No, not yet. It's not
Okay.
bottled. It's not bottled yet. So,
Do you know the ABV of the beers they had?
yes. So the beer here was almost 10%, 9.7 if I remember well. Almost 10%. Really strong beer. And again, to be honest, this is not my favorite style of beer. It was interesting to taste the beer after it was aged in M&H casks, and then to taste the whiskey and to produce it and to see the effects of the beer on the whiskey. But not my favorite style of beer.
Stefan says he has a glue note but not too much, and a little bit of nice apple. I don't have the glue notes so far, but I would say the apple. I would go with the apple as well.
It's a bit punchy dram as well. You get more punchy on this one than the chocolate porter or even the Belgian ale. You can get that
also, this is the strongest so far, 58.3%. The reason I didn't want to dilute it more is because I found it developing really nice in the glass, and I wanted to let the consumers have the chance to stay with it, to fill the glass, to fill the whiskey, to do a journey with the whiskey inside the glass. I really believe in that. And just try to add some water. This is the quicker way to do it. Add some water, it develops, it changes, and every sip is different sip. It has some mint flavors.
I was just going to say, at the finish, you get some minty notes on this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I don't even remember this beer. It was unrememberable beer.
What you said? One of the casks was matured at the Dead Sea. What casks do you have at the Dead Sea? It's on the hotel roof, right?
Yeah, it was on a hotel roof. Now we are building a bigger warehouse just nearby the shore, more close to the sea, more It's lower than on the hotel roof. It was really nice way to do it, but at the end, when you have a lot of cask and you have to roll the cask inside the hotel walls, so that makes life really difficult, and we just moved it from there.
Rolling it through the lobby and through the corridor of the hotel to the rooftop.
Yeah.
If I was a guest and if I had to open the hotel door to go out and I see a guy rolling a barrel, I'll take the guy and the barrel in my room. Like, I want to try what is in there.
Yes, me too.
But not all the people are like you. And the last day when we came to take all the cask and just to take everything from there, we did so much noise, and we had to screw and to drill and everything, and a lot of people from the hotel just complained about the noise, and the roof of the hotel just moved. Like, it was not so good, and good that we moved to more a better location. We take this.
How many casks do you have in your warehouses, and how many of them are at the Dead Sea?
Okay, so this is the time to talk about Israel as a country, and we are a really small country, but we have 5 different climate zones in such a small country. And one of them is the Dead Sea, but we have also the Mediterranean, where Tel Aviv is. We have the desert, we have the Jerusalem mountains, we have Sea of Galilee, which is totally different in climate. And the Dead Sea in particular is really interesting. It's very hot, very hot. Most of the year it can reach even 50 degrees Celsius. You sweat there like hell. And it's very, very dry, unlike Tel Aviv, where it's most of the year very humid. And to check the difference and to experiment that, it's a gift that we have. And Dr. Jim Swan just said that it's an amazing playground to play with and to learn about whiskey production, whiskey maturation. And every climate zone you need to learn how to work with. And we found that some cask types, like port, doesn't work really good at the Dead Sea in these conditions. Some cask types like ex-bourbon, SDR, wine casks are working really good, works really good at the Dead Sea. And at the end, you need to choose what to do with each climate zone. But this is going inside the Apex series. We have Dead Sea edition. The end of next year, we will have also an edition from Jerusalem Mountains, which is the next warehouse that I feel ready to release, to shout. And that's another project that we're doing of localized tiny warehouses that we have around. At the Dead Sea, you asked, until now we had 30 casks, around 30 casks. And now we just build a bigger warehouse where we can store up to 100 casks. Right now we have 60 casks, but we saw that the Dead Sea is so interesting. It does something else to the whiskey, different character, different texture to the whiskey. And we just decided to enlarge this.
And it's also a lot of air pressure inside the cask at the Dead Sea. The air pressure is more in the cask than outside as well, which will get more flavors extracted by pushing the liquid in the wood.
Yes.
So 60 to 100 casks sounds not very much. How much casks do you have in total in your warehouses?
So now we have in total just more than 3,000 casks.
Okay.
But this is really small niche from the production. It's an experimental. It's small niche, but still 100 casks. It's not a small addition. We can produce everything that we will need in the next years.
So I mean, the main warehouse will be still in Tel Aviv, but all these ones are only experimental manual, and we just use this one to see. So 100 casks living over there, or 30 casks for now. did the job of doing. We did 2 batches of Dead Sea released out, so it is enough for us as liquid wise, and it's also not fully matured at the Dead Sea as well, because you cannot mature it for 3 years. Well, you can, but there is whatever is
There
left.
won't be any left.
Tomer
Yeah.
is keeping it for himself. He's not sending it to us. So that's also important. So we don't mature it fully at the Dead Sea. We only do about 1.5 years and then get the liquid transferred. So for that, at the moment, what we have gets the job done. But looking at the demand, then Dead Sea is one of the best sellers in the Apex range, along with the pomegranate. So there is a demand growing. So planning it for the future, we have just gone from 30 to 100. That is the plan. And if it demands more, then we will look for some other options as well.
Yeah.
Shilton is right.
I think it's interesting how many of your cask, how much is the percentage of your cask aging at the Dead Sea? And now I have some numbers I can.
Yes, Shilton is
relate
right
to.
about the maturation. We cannot age fully for the full period at the Dead Sea because of the higher angel share. We have 25% angel share a year that we lose at the Dead Sea. So think about it. It will be syrup, but even if you want to drink syrup, we won't have any.
So have you not got anything as the oldest one over there, Tomer?
What? Sorry?
Oldest one, is that the one you just kept there for a longer time, and have you tried?
We kept 2 casks just to see what happened.
How long has those been there now?
3 years.
Okay.
From the beginning, it was 3 years plus or minus.
Okay.
Okay, if I read the chat, most of the people think the double bock is not their favorite type of beer. Some say the ABV is too high for them. They tried it with water, which makes it a little bit better, but most of them like the Belgian ale and the chocolate porter more.
Okay.
Which is
totally accept that.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's different beer types and everyone has its type.
Yeah.
And I think a Doppelbock is very special. You have to like it. Can you sorry? Can you tell us a little bit more about the distiller the distillery process, the process of distilling M&H? Do you distill 2 times? And how long
Yes.
is the fermentation, and with what ABV do you go to the cask and stuff like this?
Okay, so every batch is one ton of barley. Most of the barley is unpitted, come from UK, from mountains. Then we have twice a year, we're doing 1 week of pitted barley. Now we are doing 50 ppm, but usually until now we did 40 ppm barley. The pitted barley comes from the UK or from Czech Republic. It's different. We do both styles. After the mashing, we are moving to the fermenters for up to 72 hours fermentation. And why do I say up to? Is because some of the fermentations are for 48 hours, some of the fermentation are for 72 hours, and that depends on the fermentation that kept for the weekend. Because we are kosher, we are not able to work at weekends never mind.
Friday, Saturday.
Yes, but we are not working on weekends, and the fermentation that kept for the weekend, fermenting for longer. At the end, it all mixed and make it really consistent. So we're not doing 2 styles of new make, but it's all mixed up and for 1 style of unpitted new make or pitted new make. Then distillation. So we're doing 2 double distillations. First distillation is in really old copper still we found in a second-hand website. Actually, it was a German website, I think, and it was laying down in Romania, and it was really old still, but they didn't use it a lot. It was in really good shape, really good condition, and it is a really nice whiskey still that I think we tried to find the source of this still, and what we found is that it was produced by a company that produced stills for the cognac industry, and they tried to make a pilot one still for the whiskey industry, and they made only this still. 9,000 liters pot still, first distillation. Then second distillation is in German, still 3,500 liters made by Karl. Really nice company. I really love all the stills that they are doing, really amazing quality stills. And then after second distillation, the distillate comes in 73% alcohol. That's higher, and that's because we are cutting really high. We are cutting from 80 to 70% alcohol, and that compared to Scotland is really, really high. The reason for that is that we know that we are in such a high temperatures and high humidity. We are not going to age the whiskey for long periods, and that's why we don't want a lot of faints inside the distillate. So we have to cut higher. That affects mostly, of course, it affects all the new makes, but the peated new makes, we need to make it lower, a little bit lower, because the phenols comes mostly in the end of the distillation or later in the distillation. So the peated new make we are cutting at 65% alcohol.
Okay.
Then we still wanted an oily new make, a well-bodied, oily distillate. And when you are cutting from 80 to 70, you're probably gonna get some really light-bodied, really gentle and easy new make. And to achieve the oily new make, it came from Dr. Jim Swan. We made the line arms going down. That means that every vapor of oils, of everything, of congeners that comes to the top of the still will go inside the new make. And that makes our new make good quality, cutted higher, and really well-bodied, with a really good body.
Here was one question in the chat. What is the maximum number of years you can mature before the barrel is empty?
So
Well,
that
I think
lets
it depends on the Dead Sea or on Tel Aviv, but
Yes, we're talking about Tel Aviv mostly, because most of the casks
yes.
are in Tel Aviv. The production is in Tel Aviv, and Tel Aviv is the not mass, we are not so big, but most of the production kept in Tel Aviv for maturation. But that leads me to the maturation, and the distillate comes out in 73%. We casked at 63.5, just like in Scotland, but some casks at 65. That depends on the cask type. And we still didn't reach the time, the time that we take the whiskey out of the cask, even before we need to bottle it. So far, most of the core range is 4 years. I think at the end the core range will be 4 years and a half, maybe 5 years. But the longest period that we will be able to age, I think it will be 7-8 years, because I still want to keep the whiskeys not with the distillery character inside. I don't want to let the cask just overpower. I don't want it to be over oaked. I want it to be balanced. In exception, we have the Apex series, where we do let the casks overpower. And in the Apex, it's all about also climate zones, but also different cask types. So unlike the core range, where you have the distillery character inside and it's all well balanced and blended for a perfection, in my opinion, in the Apex series, it takes you to different directions, cask types, and every Apex series is a surprise.
And also to answer that as well, Manuel, if you look at how much will you be if it's ASB, which is 200 liter, and you lose 11% a year, 10 years is, well, depending as well, on that average, there is anything left. So you will never see a single cask maybe which is 10 years old. And also with this climate zones, on an average of 7 years, maximum 6 you can push, or maybe 7. But above 7 is when the wood will start dominating the liquid. Do you really want to use that in your whiskey? Is up to us if you want to produce. Well, we might just try one single cask and see. Maybe we got 60 bottles or 50 bottles of it in 8 years' time or 9 years' time. But to maintain the fruitiness, to maintain the balance of what we have, and to showcase and focus more on the spirit of the DNA of M&H, I think 5 and 6 years is the right time for us.
Okay, thank you very much. M&H is a very experimental distillery, correct? So what are your plans for the future? You said the art and craft series will continue within the next years. What can we expect from that?
Well, there is no cask type that I will say no to. Every cask I will take. Not everything will be released, but experiment with wood, the wood management, just experiment. We're experimenting yeast types, barley types, cask types, of course, different blending methods. This week I got 2 casks of hot sauce, which is something
nice.
I never thought that I will mature whiskey, but I couldn't say no. It can only be really interesting, although I don't think I will release it.
Oh no, why?
But in the future, I think the core range will get better and better. Every batch is better and better, and at the end we are trying to get better and to improve ourselves and the whiskies. Although it is good, try it. The core range will be kept on the shelves. I don't think we need to change it, the different expressions, but a lot of different expressions, different cask types, single casks. You can find already a lot in different markets. We're bottling every store that wants, every whiskey club, we're bottling single cask for them. And this is just to let people know M&H. And I think when people drink something really interesting, at the end it comes from the whiskey drinkers, from the whiskey geeks. When you drink something interesting, it takes you to drink the core range, the base of this distillery, because it's interesting you. And I think this will be also the future, developing different cask types. Also, we have 4 more climate zones that we still didn't release, so a lot to expect.
But you have casks in the other climate zones as well?
Of course, we have in the 5 climate zones we have casks.
Okay, but in the you have some mountains, you said, in Israel
Jerusalem
as well.
Mountains, Sea of Galilee.
Okay,
and
but there the whiskey can mature a little bit slower, correct? Because
yes,
the climate is not so hot.
In Jerusalem, for example, in the Jerusalem Mountains, for example, we didn't move the cask back to the distillery after 1.5 years because it is colder. It is the humidity is average. It's not so humid, and just we let the casks mature and do their magic.
Sounds all very interesting. I'm really I really like the character of M&H, and I just saw on your Instagram page that you have released a tequila cask finish and orange wine finish. It's not released in Germany yet, but I'm really looking forward to try it one day.
Yeah, I think it's on the way to Germany. I think
there are 3 in the new releases. One is tequila cask, orange wine cask, and ex Alba. And at the moment we are also
Alba. What is ex Alba?
So ex Alba, it's ex Scotch in basic, but we of course cannot write the word Scotch or mention it on the bottle. So Alba is Scotland in Gaelic. So ex Alba is from casks that came from Scotland.
And we are also just getting the next batch of the rum cask as well. We had one which we sold out, and rum cask will be ready anytime soon.
In Germany, there was the release of the Black Apex
Yeah.
recently. What is the difference between the normal Apex and the Black Apex series?
So the Black Apex is only 8 casks that we pick every year. That it's not just like we are going now to find 8 casks. No, it's
8 different casks, huh? 8 different casks.
8 different casks, single casks. It's the single cask, exceptional single casks that we picked every year for the Apex series. So the black bottles are single casks. I'm sampling a lot of casks all the time, and sometimes you know the cask and then you taste it and you feel that it will be a shame to put it inside the blend. It should be released as is. It's really exceptional casks, and those casks are really exceptional casks that we thought should be released as is, and just manually picked for this series of Black Apex.
So you recommend we should try the Black Apex?
Well, I recommend you to try all the M&H.
Yeah, well, I have over 800 bottles around me. I can't try everything, but sounds very interesting.
Well,
And like someone said, orange wine sounds very interesting as well.
Yes, orange wine is something that I don't remember. I as a whiskey geek, and I have a lot of whiskeys around me. I can show you in a minute, even more than you have. And orange wine is something that I never heard that someone else did. It's a new method of. It's not. I don't know if it's new, but it's a method of making white grape variety wines on the shells. And this is why it comes out orange, and it comes very earthy, very yeasty, and it's very interesting to use these casks. We already have a few more.
I know 2 distilleries which use orange liquor casks. It's
so you're talking about
Welsh.
Lakes did some orange wines, but the orange wine that they meant is the Spanish orange when you put peels inside the wine, and
Yes.
this is not the same.
Orange wine in Israel is an orange wine, correct?
This particular orange wine is an orange wine. It's
okay.
It's basically just a white wine, but with using the grape skin, living it in there for a longer time. It got the name orange wine because of the color of it. It was looked.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it is called. I mean, you can get it in the market as well. You go in the wine shop, you can get orange wine, but it is just got the name because of the color that it had, the pale color, and it's like, okay, it's orange. I don't know why, but don't ask me why whoever gave the name, but that's the reason they got the name.
Okay. Should we go to the last one or?
Yeah. Why not? So the last one,
Exile IPA by Toma. This is my favorite from the 4. I told you this as well.
I'm really happy you say this. It's not my favorite, to be honest. I prefer at least 2 of the others.
No, this is out of the 4. This will be my favorite on top if I had to, because it's an IPA and Exile, so it's a perfect combination for me. And you really get the tropical fruity notes on it, and that enough peat as well. It's not very peaty. I mean, the peatiness is there, but not much. So it gets my boxes ticked in the.
And this is what's beautiful.
Please explain what is Exile IPA.
Yes. But this is what's beautiful about these expressions. We have different opinions. You can say that most of the whiskeys are great, but we like different whiskeys better. And Ex-Isla IPA. So actually, I don't like the term Ex-Isla IPA because it mixes the whiskey and the beer too strong. But what happened here is a brewery called The Dictator, and it's already closed. And to be honest, I was one of the owners of this beer brewery, And the dictator just took ex-Isla casks from M&H, matured IPA inside this beer. This became to be the strongest Israeli beer ever made by icing it. We just made an ice beer, 53% alcohol from this IPA ex-Isla beer
Wow.
matured. Then we took the casks back to M&H, matured whiskey in it for 3 years, and this is the result.
Interesting.
I need to show you the bottle of the beer. I'll go.
Oh, please. In the meantime, Shilton, someone asked, I'm confused now. So it's wine made of grapes but matured with added orange peel. No, that's the Spanish part.
No, not at all. So it is just like a white wine itself, but just like how you make a red wine, you leave the skin of the grape in the wine. Similarly, or a rosé as well, you keep it for a short time. Similarly, in the white wine, to make it, you leave the skin of the grape in it for some time, and that's when it gets that earthy notes. The color becomes a bit kind of orangey color. And that is why it got the name, because of the look of it, saying orange wine. This is what I know of it. So whoever named it, this is why he named it as orange wine, just because it had the look of an orange color. That's it.
And here's
Nothing to
someone
do with
interested
nothing to do
in
with the oranges.
Yeah, and that's what made me
This is
confused
the beer.
because
Here you have in
this
Hebrew
is
the dictator, and it's Kim's Gulag Party. This is how the beer called. And you can see it's 53% alcohol because it's ice beer. It's made from icing it and make it stronger. So it's actually an icing distillation.
but it's a closed brewery, you said.
It's closed already, yes.
How many bottles are left?
From this, I have 5.
Yes. You have 5, okay.
And it just makes better and better every year.
So no chance to get one of those.
Ah,
Well,
I don't
I have
know.
to get mine first, Manuel. Be in the queue. Come on.
Yes,
No, I was
the
just reading that
beer
comment.
YouTuber.
I was reading the comment of someone saying about the wine again. It's the wine is not only because of Israeli. You can find that orange wine everywhere as well in Europe. You can find in the UK as well. Just get in the wine store, depending on on the type of wine shop. Some of the big wine shops will have orange wine as well on the shelf. Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you think about this expression, Shilton? You already said that you like it.
I said I love it. I mean, I like because Tomer, you get some tropical fruity notes, but not very overpowering. It is there. It's a nice, easy sipping dram. You get that tropical fruits, but not much. Even on the peat, you don't get very peaty, a lot of peaty notes, but you get the peat at the back. The moment you sip it down, okay, you start getting the peat. So there's enough peat over there for me.
Yeah, you
It's
feel
not
it
a big
in the
peaty.
finish.
Sorry?
It just lingers on the finish.
Yes. Yeah.
Only whiskey wise, I would prefer that the IPA beer wouldn't be matured in ex-Isla casks.
Mm-hmm.
The casks, they picked it, we picked it for the beer, not for the later on whiskey to be matured in. Because
Eike has on the nose a mix of fruit salad with coastal notes. And you get the peat on the skin.
Yeah. These are my two favorite things: tropical fruits and peat. So that's why maybe I love it. And as Thomas said, it's the whole idea of doing this even in the core range, is because it's a whiskey for everyone. Everyone has got different preferences, different favorites. So that's why we have these 4 ones. I mean, not necessarily you like all of them. If somebody likes all of them, or everybody likes all of them, then tomorrow we'll have to run full capacity tomorrow.
No, slowly.
Yeah.
We are growing every year, and
But
we need to grow slowly.
but this one is only unpeated barley, right?
Yes, it's only unpeated barley filled into these X Isla X IPA casks. Maybe it was
Okay.
better to call it like this: X Isla X IPA casks.
Do you know which whiskey was from, which cask was from Isla? So which distillery?
Yes. So in M&H we use mostly Laphroaig casks, but we have also Ardbeg,
Hmm.
and that's the cask that we're using. So
Well,
Laphroaig,
we can tell you that we get the cask from Ardbeg and Laphroaig. The only thing we cannot do is we can't put a finger on it. We will not want to put a finger. If you find an ex-Hyla cask, like an India bottler, maybe you'll find in Germany a single cask ex-Hyla from M&H. We can tell you it is one of these two. That's all.
Yeah. I won't tell you anything that I'm not 100% sure of.
No, it's okay. I can work with Laphroaig and Artbeck. It's good.
Yeah.
I like this. I like this one.
We take casks only from the southern shore of Isla.
Yeah, more hints.
On the palate, at first a strong mango, then a peat kicks in but tamed. The glimmering peat is transitioning into ash, and after that the peat goes away and the mango returns. I have some parts of like immature pineapple, like not the sweet pineapple, but a little bit green notes from the pineapple. I like this.
It's sometimes you feel really bad about not being able to mature this to produce this such a whiskey again. But sometimes this is all about experimenting. Sometimes you cannot produce it again, and this is only 811 bottles bottled from those 3 casks, and
Honestly,
it is good.
it's
It is interesting, but we cannot release this again.
53.2% ABV.
Yes, but the good thing is that we will never stop experimenting. Every
So
year you will have new things, new interesting stuff, and the core range will be there all the time. If you like M&H, try this, but all the time the whiskey geeks will be able to consume some interesting new stuff from M&H. Sometimes it will be very good, sometimes it might disappoint you, but we are trying our best to make you think, to make you intrigued by our whiskey.
Stefan says he has one on his collection. So my favorite, I'm not sure between the ex Isla IPA and the chocolate porter. I have to say, I like both of them, but I'm quite curious how everyone else sees them. So I have made up an ranking. You can rank the whiskeys over here. You can do this as well if you like to, Shilton and Toma. There you can say
I'm
which.
going for it.
Thomas' vote doesn't count.
I'm going for it.
Every word counts.
Okay, I voted.
Okay, I will have a look to the result in a minute. In the meantime, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about some new release which was released in the same time like the beer cast. We have the Christmas treat. What is this and what is it all about?
So Christmas treat, actually, it came. I don't remember if from Germany or Netherlands, but we came with an idea of making whiskey for Christmases. And what is Christmas? It's Christmas cake. To be honest, as a Jew, or I'm not so Jew, okay? Yeah, I'm not religious at all, but I never ate Christmas cake in Israel. So what I did is go to Heaven, and Andrew Brown is really amazing man, and he told me the 18 Heaven tastes just as Christmas cake. So I took the flavors from there and tried to not copy but to get those flavors. And from comments that I get, I did well, but you can taste it and say what you think. So a lot of dried fruits, a lot of cinnamon, gingery, hot flavors inside this expression. 49% ABV. It's well served in front of the fire.
Yeah, I have a bottle here, and it's maybe part of an upcoming tasting, but I won't spoil too much
If you
for the
want,
community.
if you won't finish all of the whiskey in Christmas, you will let people try it.
It's a very Christmassy dram, and that's the whole idea of it, of getting a dram which is very Christmassy, of someone who can enjoy during during the Christmas time, holiday season. And that was one of the ideas of getting a dram like that. And we only did a small batch of it. It's not even a big batch, and it's not gone to all markets. For example, it's not here in the UK. It's not going to only maybe like 4 or 5 markets only in Europe that is going to. And we've done it for the first time as well, and getting it out to let people try. So it's like a Christmas treat for all our M&H followers. So enjoy your Christmas time over a nice dram. That's the whole idea.
Will it be in one-time thing, or will it come every year?
Well, I think when we started it, we will do it every year. I hope to, because it's really nice expression that I think just whiskey is made for those moments, that when you can share it with family, with friends, in special occasions. And I was really happy to do this.
Have you ever tried some German Christmas candies, or the German Christmas cake, which is called Christstollen?
No, but
No?
now I will.
You should, definitely.
Yeah, maybe next year it will be Christmas.
Next edition based on based on that flavor topper. Yeah.
Next year
I
we
would
will call it Christmas Stollen.
I would love that. So we have 10 answers for the question so far, and haven't got any more within the last 2 minutes. So maybe I can release the results, and I have a look if it will change. But on place number 4 is, do we have an idea which would be place number 4? Position
Well,
number 4.
I guess it will be the Doppelbock.
I
But
think the same.
I want to say no, it will be the Belgian ale.
No, I think it will be the Doppelbock on number 4. I think so. Looking at the comments, I'm just going by the comment section today. It's not my thing.
Okay. So you're totally right. Position number 4 is the Doppelbock. And it's definitely the Doppelbock. The other 3 are close by each other. They are close to each other, but this one is definitely the last one. And then on position number 3, any ideas?
I'll take a guess. I'll do the chocolate porter. Just throwing it in.
I'll do the Belgian ale.
This time, Thomas is right with the Belgian ale.
And now we know the rest.
You know the rest, you think?
Yeah, and we saw the answers.
You saw the answers?
No, we saw the people wrote what they.
Okay.
So
Jericho said Belgian Ale was his first, then Chocolate Porter X Isle IPA, and Doppelbock. So on position number 2 is the Chocolate Porter, and the winner of the evening is the Isle IPA, which surprises me a little bit because there's another YouTuber in Germany, friendly Mr. Z, who tried already the Chocolate Porter and the Isle IPA, and he said the Chocolate Porter was great and the Isle IPA wasn't his whiskey. He didn't like it. So,
yeah.
and because normally our tastes are quite similar, I wasn't expecting much from the X Isle IPA, but I was quite surprised.
Again, this is what's beautiful about it. It can change from evening to evening, but you cannot say that one whiskey is bad or good. At least it made it's
More Doppelbock for you, Stefan. Yes.
So now I'm looking forward to taste the other two, especially the barley wine. I was really looking for the barley
to be
wine.
honest, the
because
barley one is the one that I like the most from the old 6.
Barley wine is a beer type which I like very much, so I would love to try this one.
I totally don't like barley wine beers, but just made really good flavor for the whiskey.
Okay, so Thomas said, Thomas, beer me. He wants to have some beer from you from Israel.
Beer Kanal.
Thomas is Knölsch Beer Kanal is the YouTube channel.
So just
he
just
just
send me an
started.
email, tomer@mh-distillery.com, and we'll talk.
Yeah, we keep in touch. Thomas lives like 200 meters away from me, so we can arrange that. This is no problem. So Eike is saying he's really looking for the Christmas tasting with the Christmas treat. Oh, maybe the Christmas treat is in the Christmas tasting. Meatloaf says he's looking forward to repeat the tasting because he wasn't able to join today. He's a little bit sick, and he just ordered a bottle of the IPA. He ordered a bottle of the X Isle IPA without trying it because he's sick.
Okay, he trusts Shilton.
No.
Alexander says it was quite interesting, and after the tasting, he wants to try all of them with some water as well. And Eike says, I'm surprised beer maturation can be such great. Had no so good experience in the past. Yeah, well, I think I will have to try the other two here on the channel as well. So to complete the series, and I'm really looking forward what will be the art and craft series next year.
So just want to say thank you very much, and to tell you that we are really happy to be in Germany, to work with Kammerkirsch, which are the best ever partner for us in Germany. And I look forward to visit in Germany much more and in the future. And with Shilton, I think the sky's the limit.
Come to Germany. There are a few shows you have not been there. You were there in Frankfurt last time, Tomer. So yeah, you're not there in Frankfurt this time, but I'll be there.
Yeah,
this time you come to Frankfurt, Shilton. You will be in Frankfurt.
I'll be there. Tal will be there, and Gal, our CEO as well. Yeah,
I am probably there as well.
Okay,
maybe.
So we'll be in Frankfurt, and this time I think we'll have a nice big stand as well because of all the new releases that we have.
Tim says 4 great drams, amazing. And Jericho says 1 and 2 are exceptional. 4X is okay. Yeah, I think they like this. Most of the guys like it. I'm really looking forward to come to Israel one day and looking to the and visiting the distillery. But
Well,
I
you're really
I
welcome.
don't know when it will be.
All of you are really welcome to Israel.
Do you have a
Thank you.
visitor center?
We have a nice visitor center. We can host you, and you can have a really nice tour at the distillery with tasting and everything. Just drop me an email when you're coming. We'll be happy to have you as a guest. And Israel is really nice and quiet country. Just come to visit us.
And you can also buy a distillery exclusive bottle as well over there when you're there.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, what is
We
it
do-
at the moment?
We do a bottle your own as well, with a nice privatized label that you can do. I think it is STR now.
Well, now we have at the bottle your own. We have peated barley STR matured whiskey, where you can bottle your own bottle and have the label with your name. We also have at the distillery like single casks, some things like that you can find only at the distillery. Just some different casks that we bottle from time to time. Not single cask, it's leftovers from single cask that we bottled, or you can find really special things there.
Okay. I can say is if you come to Düsseldorf or Cologne to try Alt or you try Kölsch, let us know. We live close by and we'll show you around.
Wow, I love Alt beer.
And Stefan says, thank you. It was really entertaining and informating. I had a different ranking, but the whiskeys were overall pretty nice. Though in general, I prefer the Epic series. The Pomegranate is awesome. Here, a big thank to Shilton and Toma. And thank you guys. It was amazing having you here in the stream. Yeah, I think it's everything I need to say. Thank you very much for joining this evening. Thank you, Toma. I think it's late at night at your place now.
No, it's quarter to midnight. It's okay.
Quarter to midnight. Oh, it's okay.
But I woke up at 4:50 in the morning.
I woke up at 6 because my daughter wants to stand up. Okay. Thank you guys for joining. I hope we can repeat this in the future. Maybe with the Black Epic series or with the next season Art and Craft series. Would love to have you here again. And I wish everyone else a nice evening. See you next time. Bye, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.